Good morning and welcome to the Forex Daily Update, brought to you by Pepperstone on Wednesday the 13th of March 2019. I'm Darren Sinden and you can follow me throughout the day on Twitter by using @DS_Pepperstone. Okay, let's kick off as ever with a look at the overnight changes and price moves to be aware of. Relatively quiet as far as the global foreign exchanges were concerned, but still a few things of interest. First of all, cable, the British pound slipping back off its highs yesterday. Still it was up on the session by 0.11%, but clearly it's been a lot higher during the day when there were hopes that Theresa May's revised Brexit plan might make it through Parliament. Be very interesting to see what today's vote will bring. Elsewhere, we saw weakness again in the Australian dollar against its US counterpart, the Aussie, falling by 0.35% over the session, and that dragged its near neighbour, the New Zealand dollar, lower by about roughly half that amount, 0.17% down on the day. The Kiwi, the dollar also took money off of the Chinese yuan, gaining by 0.18% against the Chinese currency. And the dollar was also on the front foot elsewhere in Asia, adding 0.4% against the Korean won. Dollar index for its part pretty much unchanged on the session, up by 0.07%, but nothing really to write home about there. Okay then, what's on the calendar today? Events that may move the markets. First of all, at 08:30 we will have a speech from the ECB board member Mersch. And then at 10 AM GMT this morning, we will have key industrial production data out of the Eurozone for the month of January. And then we pause until 12:30, crossing over the Atlantic for the first of our US numbers today, and that is producer price index data ex food and energy for the month of February. And that's accompanied by perhaps the pick of the day's releases in the form of capital goods and durable goods orders data for the month of Jan. A chance to look at how much money US companies are investing in their businesses, buying high value items to help make other goods. We're also scheduled today to have the spring statement, which is the sort of counterpoint to the autumn budget in the UK, although as we'll see later that may be delayed or at least deferred because of other parliamentary business. Watch the space for news on that. And at 1700 the second of the day's central banker speeches, again from an ECB member, but this time it's the ECB's Benoit Coeur that will be speaking. And finally at 23:50 tonight, if you're still in the market, you can catch Japanese foreign investment data in Japan stocks for the week of March the 8th. Okay then, breaking news and comment that's caught my eye overnight. And first of all then, the news that Theresa May's revised Brexit plan has been rejected by UK MPs, and roundly rejected at that, who will instead debate and vote on the proposal of a no-deal Brexit today in Parliament. And should they reject that, as seems quite likely, then there'll be a motion later in the week about whether we want to defer Article 50 going forward. Meanwhile, Japanese core machinery orders have slumped by 5.4% in January, the biggest dip for 4 months, and well below forecast for a fall of 1.4%. So the second negative data point as far as Japanese capital goods and machine and tool orders are concerned in a week. Meanwhile, Australian consumer confidence fell by 4.8% to 98.8 in March, its lowest reading for 18 months, and the metric is now back below its long-term average of 101.36. So remember that business confidence took a big knock earlier in the week. Consumers in Australia are also feeling the pinch and feeling less optimistic about their financial well-being going forward. That will of course be of concern to the RBA, who are closely monitoring the state of the domestic economy. Robert Lighthizer, the chief US trade negotiator, has warned that US-China trade talks could still fail over concerns about enforcement and monitoring. That reported by the Financial Times today. Okay then, it's time for food for thought, something to take away with you into the trading day and beyond. And why not think about this? The Chinese economy is often in the news, but is it punching above its weight in media terms? And should we be paying more, or at least as much attention to other economies in the rest of the world? And this chart, courtesy of Bloomberg, shows what we're talking about here. Here's China at with an economy worth around $12.2 trillion US. Here's the rest of the world with a combined economy worth $24.4 trillion US. So China is still only about 15% of the global economy, and is outweighed by rest of the world, the Eurozone, and obviously the US. So I think it's this blue area of the pie chart that we need to think about more and keeping track of in relation to what happens in China and indeed the rest of the world. Okay, it's risk warning time. Please do take a moment to read this risk warning, because trading CFDs and foreign exchange on margin can be a risky business. If you're in any doubt about those risks or the suitability of leverage products for you, then please do contact your Pepperstone account representative. And do take a moment, as I say, to read this risk warning thoroughly. Thank you for your time today.